Good morning, dear students. Uh, Today we'll be discussing how talent management gives competitive advantage or helps in gaining competitive advantage to a organization. So when we talk about competitive advantage, basically what competitive advantage means. Competitive advantage is the ability of the firm to occupy a superior position in an industry and outperform its rivals on the primary performance goals, that is profitability. So a company's superior competitive position allows it to achieve higher profitability in the industry average. So how your organization is going to gain a superior position in the industry when we talk about human resources, because out of 5 m's, your men or your human resource or your talent is the only resource which cannot be replicated, which cannot be uh, you know uh, processed as such by your competitors. So more you focus on your talent, more you focus on your development of human resource, more you will be getting competitive advantage in the industry. So talking about competitive advantage, uh, the major goal of every organizational strategy is to enhance the effectiveness and efficiency of the operations, which could lead the organization to success. So talent management is essential when the organizations will like to build winning teams, which will be formed by talented personnel employees. So the organization will use these kind of teams to solve, determinate problems or weaknesses in the departments. So basically, the studies show that if organization strategies and technology would be complex, its key success is human factor. That means in that particular scenario, uh, the organization can achieve its success only through human resource. Therefore, a manager should consider to the factors which affect on the organizational success. Well, Lewis and Heckman, they identified three key streams of analyzing the effectiveness of talent management practices. That means how we can make effective talent management practices so that organization can gain a competitive advantage out of that. So the first stream refers to an analytical technique to tie talent management to financial performance. So it is very important for an organization to relate, to correlate talent management to the financial performance of the organization. That means how your organization is performing and how it is scoring in the market, so that you can make out whether your talent is generating the requisite ROI or not. So the second stream emphasizes the process of analyzing and optimizing the talent management system. So one has to organization has to analyze whether the system that has been put in the place for talent management, whether it is giving us the optimal results or not, because talent management asks for the investment. So the investment which organization is investing, or which it is which they are making for the development of human resource or talent management in an organization, whether it is giving us the genuine or the required output or not. Then the third stream appears to see analytics as a set of talent attraction or talent retention and talent development. That means you need to have a concrete set of information or set of data that can be put to use for talent attraction, retention, and talent development. So, organizations that apply talent management practices, they demonstrate significantly higher financial performance compared to their industry peers. It has also been explored that business performance can also be influenced by managing talent assets. Organizational process, they are based on some competencies which is used to manage the business effectively and efficiently. So the generated value has the huge role to manage the business process. Finally, organizational competencies are developed and processed by the management of talent assets in an organization. Therefore, it has been very much cleared by the organization that organizational competencies, they are the result of effective and efficient management of talent assets that increase the business performance and value creation. In the same way, the effectiveness of talent asset management, it will provide firms the skills to align the demand of market with talent resources. The dynamic capabilities, they are used by the firm to achieve a new source for configuration for the markets or evolving. Dynamic dynamic capabilities are more useful to individual firms so as to gain sustainable competitive advantage and long-term superior performance. Basically, it has been researched that talent management practices, they have a huge role to compete in the market and have competitive advantage on others. So it is also explored that organization can gain only short span of time competitive advantage with the help of innovations and new technologies. So it is the only talent management practice which gives the sustained competitive advantage in the market by by organization attraction, development, motivation, and management and reward of the talent. Like a machine, a business will fail to operate successfully if key elements such as processes, systems, and structures are misaligned, or if they are hindered by maybe, for example, friction between those elements. And like a machine, a business must be designed, operated, and maintained. So these functions are performed by the talent. So human capital employed by the organization, and indeed the talent which is organization's employees, they typically are the single biggest lever for driving improvements in business performance. So the collective skills of the talent employed in an organization, largely it comprises the organization core capabilities. An organization's talent, it injects capabilities that are very difficult for competitors to benchmark and replicate. Therefore, more than an other asset, talent provides and the potential for long-term competitive advantage. So, because of all these reasons, um, organizations may gain competitive advantage by focusing on the talent and uh, by developing their talent in the organization. But despite the fact that organizations do invest and they do focus on their talent, but still there are certain reasons. There may be reasons for the failure in talent management. So there could be various possible reasons for the failure of talent management. So here we are having a few of them, that why these talent management fails. So first is, talent management is far than more than just a development program. Uh, it basically it also includes leadership selection and uh, um, and succession planning, performance management, and multi-tiered development programs for frontline workers up to executive leaders. Every talent management program encompasses the entire life of an employee from the day he or she comes on board to the day or he or she leaves. So basically, you are not focusing on just a development program for your organization, but you are developing a talent. That means individual goal. A person who is joining an organization is looking forward to his own development as well. So you don't have to focus on just a development program. It has to go beyond that, so that your entire career path of an employee is laid down very systematically and in a very planned manner. Then second is organization. That means most of the organization, they don't do that. That is why it's because if your employee is not able to make out that alignment of his personal and the organization goal with respect to the development, so he might not be like to be part of the organization's development program. So second reason could be organizations, they generally they aren't always the best at hiring. So one of the common reasons for the failure of the talent management in the organization is that no matter how strong the performance management processes are, a poorly hired or misplaced employee, he negatively will affect the entire organization in one way or the other way. So um, quite possible that your talent management might fail because of your poor hiring processes or poor hiring or recruitment practices. Then third reason is that leaders, they generally don't feel that they have the tools to provide well thought out performance review. So they what leaders, they feel that they lack coaching on how to mentor an individual. Organizations generally, they don't train their leaders to how to coach, how to mentor an individual, provide actionable steps to improve, and provide clear directions on the next step. So without this training, leaders, they default to what is, comfortable and compliance. So most of the organizations, they are not building quality succession programs for their leaders. So this ultimately affects long term productivity, with a majority of workforce retiring in, next maybe 10 years. So this presents a large problem. So 82, most of the 80 organizations, almost 82% of organizations, they lack that bench strength. And a survey says that 78% of the organizations, they rate themselves as having less than highly effective succession systems. Companies are not adequately preparing for the future. So they don't they don't go for it. So talking about that, leaders, they don't have the tools to provide a well thought of performance review. Then next is that human capital is not sufficiently aligned with the business strategy. So when we talk about that, human and these they are not aligned with the business strategy. So while senior leaders, they clearly recognize the importance of human capital, a number of companies, they still struggle to connect their people practices with the overall business strategy and the business imperatives. So if they are not related to the overall business strategy, so they are not going to give you the desired results, which will help you in moving forward to completion of your strategic goals. Then next is lack of accountability and capability for talent development. Um, most of organizations, they hold their executives and managers accountable for achieving business results. They are not being held accountable for talent development. They hold, their executives and managers responsible for business results, but they do not held them accountable for talent development. Like few organizations, they consistently hold managers, like almost only 7% or 7 or senior executives, they are accountable for developing their direct reports. And most managers lack the basic capability to develop talent effectively. So it is only just 5% of organizations, under a survey, they said that their managers have the skills to grow people in their jobs or to provide the constructive feedback that supports and encourages employee development and consistently across the organization. Then next is inconsistent execution and integration of talent programs. So the majority of companies report having fundamental processes for talent management in place, such as workforce planning, development, and programs for high potential employees and succession planning. However, only a few consistently execute these programs. That means laying down a plan and finally executing. There is a vast and gap. Again, a survey was conducted where only two-thirds, almost 69% of companies said that they conduct workforce planning across all division businesses. Only few, like 15% do so consistently, and only a few, again a very small percentage, that is 21% of companies, they consistently integrate talent practices across the organization. That means they tie up rewards to the performance, and performance is then tied up to the development. So this inconsistent execution and integration of talent management programs might lead to the failure of the entire talent management program. Then limited use of meaningful talent analytics. So as I said, that data has to be used very, very efficiently. And when it comes to a talent analytics, most organizations have a long way to go. We might in tracking traditional workforce measurements such as headcount, turnover, and cost-based metrics. Few only few have expertise in tracking the metrics that actually matter to the organization, that actually are fruitful to the organization. So this is very, very important aspect of the talent management, that the data which organization is using, it has to be very, very uh, crucial and very, very important from the point of view of talent management. So these could be prominent reasons for failure in talent management. In addition to this, or apart from these points which we have discussed, there could be various other factors as well for the which might lead for the failure of talent management. Then identifying high potential employees. Um, how do we identify high potential employees in our organization so that those employees can be, tracked upon, they can be developed for the overall development of the organization. So Dr. Thomas Camero Primizic, an international authority in psychological profiling and talent management, he has given the following points in order to identify that who would be the true high potential employees for an organization. So first is that set clear criteria for promotion that define explicit what behaviors, achievements, and KPIs you equate to high potential. That means organization need to have a clear measurement system so as to define that what high potential actually means. That means for high potential, which behaviors, achievements, and key performance indicators one has to keep as a benchmark for high potential. So that criteria has to be set very, very clear. So that means if on the basis of this measurement you are identifying and targeting certain employees of your organization, they must be a high potential employees. Then use objective and reliable method to assess performance and be transparent about everybody's output. See, ultimately, the tools and methods which are being used for performance assessment, they must be reliable and valid, and it has to be transparent because you need to communicate it with your employees so that they can have an idea what is expected out of them. The next is provide developmental support for those who fail to meet those targets despite trying potential can be retained and boosted. So, quite possible that there are set of employees who despite trying their level best, are not able to achieve or meet the targets. So, in that case, organization what they need to do is they will have to provide them a developmental support. Then, don't just focus on past performance. So, talking about that, one should not only focus on past performance. Personality is better indicator of people's potential for a new role, especially when it involves managing people. So one has to keep all these criteria in mind for identifying high potential employees. Then what if organizations, if they fail in implementing their talent management, or Then what could be the results or consequences of poor talent management? So these are very very common, you can say common outputs or outcomes uh, which might be visible as the implementation of or or as the failure of talent management. So first is unhappy employees. Obviously unhappiness comes from the absence of positive influence. Unhappiness falls under the umbrella of psychological well-being. So as a result, environmental situations influence how employees perceive the events happening in the social environment. Hence, the potential for increased employee unhappiness contribute to dysfunctional work relationships, thereby affecting the employee as well as business productivity. Second is employee turnover. So if organizations they don't manage their talent, it will lead to employee turnover and pose a serious threat to organizations. So employees who leave the organizations are replaced by new employees who lack equivalent competency as the person who left. So as a result, organizations' productivity decreases, and all the while, new employees they take time in adapting the organization culture. Then third is poor management strategies. Uh, During the times when business is low and when managers decide to cut talent management budgets, they cripple the talent management process altogether, because most of the time organizations they do not understand the relevance of uh, investing in talent management processes. So therefore, at the time of requirement or at the time of the cost cutting, the first and you can say the targeted area where from the cost cutting starts, it is basically HR. Whether it is training and development cost, it is talent management process cost, and all those budgets. So thereby making budget cutting a poor management strategy and affecting the entire talent management process. Lengthy hiring process. It is one of the very common reasons for failure and outcome of the poor talent management. If talent management loses focus, it will result in lengthy hiring process, which ultimately will cost to the company both in terms of money and time. So one has to specify, be very very focused and specific about the steps which are involved in recruitment and selection of a or even training and development of a talent. So that process has to be very, very customized and very, very specific. Then hiring the wrong candidates. When talent management is not planned properly, it might result in desperateness of getting some top talent into the company that ultimately ends up with hiring of wrong person. It is easy to take what someone's resume says and not follow upon the policy framed. Therefore, interviewers should focus on real tangible likes, what the candidate's proven skill sets are, their success track records, and their accountability. Then employee engagement is a critical aspect of talent management, so it becomes very challenging for talent manager to keep talent constantly interested and motivated, but it will happen only if those things have been included in talent management policy, and most important is the top management support. So these could be few of the outcomes of poor talent management practices or system in the organization. So this was all about today's lecture. So in coming lectures, we'll be discussing more about other aspects of talent management. Thank you.